Hey, what's going on? Luke here, and we are here to do my tips and predictions for round 6 of the 2022 NRL season. Now, last week, I think I was a little bit hit and miss. I can't remember exactly who I even took, but I'm pretty sure it was quite hit and miss. I think at this point in the season, we kind of got a good idea of which teams are good and which teams are bad, although this week does create some interesting matchups because of that, because we've seen some good teams like the Sharks be really good, but we haven't seen them take on a top team, and they do that this week. Then you got teams like Manly, who were very good last week without Tom Trbojevic, but can they back it up? Basically, I just think this is going to be a really good round of footy. Obviously, it's on the Easter weekend too, so we're going to see some Good Friday matchups. We're going to see some matchups that probably would be maybe a boring fixture normally, but because it is Easter weekend, it is going to be quite a good game. Anyways, we're about to give my tips and predictions, but before we do so, I need to mention that there is a sponsor of this video.
The sponsor for this video is BetU, and more specifically, EarnU. EarnU is a part of BetU, and it allows you to place bets on NRL, AFL, cricket, and all major sports risk-free. You can even place bets on esports such as FIFA and League of Legends. You can even watch the esports events, so it makes it a little bit easier to make those bets. This is all done through BetU tokens, and you can win money through the tokens, as all profits and bets are done through the tokens. Yes, I just said tokens a lot. To get the tokens, you need to deposit into your account, and that will give you points to play with, and then you can use those points to make the bets. 1,000 BetU tokens equals 10 points to make bets with, so you kind of get the gist there. You can make bets individually, or you can join in on the rounds that they do. They do rounds each week, and within those rounds, they also have leaderboards, so you can make money a fair few ways on this platform. Now, I have a referral code in the description below. You can go ahead and click on that, or you can just go ahead and chuck in Mr. Luke where it allows you. Basically, this just shows that you saw my video and you've come across from my video, so it really does help me if you do use my referral code. Once again, thank you to BetU, and more importantly, EarnU, for coming on board the channel. Guys, please gamble responsibly. You also have to be 18 plus as well. I mean, it is gambling after all, so you have to be 18 plus. But Australians, we love a little bit of a gamble, especially NRL fans. We love to have a little bit of a punt, especially me. So go ahead, use this platform, use BetU, use EarnU, and help support the people that support me.
Alrighty, the first game of the round, it sees the Canberra Raiders taking on the North Queensland Cowboys. Now, for me, this one is going to be a very tight affair. The Cowboys, I think, have been quite decent this year. Raiders have been decent at times. Both of them have been very hot and cold. When they've been really good, they've been able to win. When they've been pretty off, they have been beaten pretty badly and pretty convincingly. So it is going to be very hard to pick a winner of this one, because I feel like they're pretty even, these two sides. Now, the Raiders going into the season, I thought they'd be a lot better. Whereas the Cowboys, I thought they would definitely be a wooden spoon contender, although they have shown quite a little bit with Dearden and Townsend in the halves. That's where I thought that was going to be the weak point for them. However, I think they've actually been quite solid. At fullback, you do have Drinkwater there as well, who's come in for the hammer. I think he slotted in pretty nicely for them last week. But just overall, though, I feel like this is going to be a very hard game to pick. I think a big advantage for this game is the fact that the game is going to be in Canberra. So for that reason, I feel like I'm going to be leaning more towards the Raiders. Nothing due to form or games in the past or anything like that. I just feel like the conditions will suit the Raiders a lot more. Being a Thursday night in Canberra, there's a chance it's going to be pretty cold there, and I feel like the Raiders are going to be way more suited to that, especially going up against the Cowboys. I feel like this is going to be a good matchup for the Raiders in terms of just conditions. So I feel like for that reason, I'm going to be going with the Raiders. However, I feel like it will be a 1-12 one. I can't see either team really blowing out either side, so I'm going to go Raiders, and we're going to go 1-12. Moving on to the second game of the round, it sees a Good Friday clash. It happens every year, always at the Easter show. It's always on Friday. It's always in the afternoon too, which is a little bit different considering Friday night football. We have Friday afternoon football. It's the South Sydney Rabbitohs taking on my Canberra Bankstown Bulldogs. Now, I'd love to sit here and say, geez, Bulldogs been looking all right. They've been very close, but they haven't been close at all. However, I will say they did show some signs against Penrith's side of that, like just that little bit of attack. I thought Flano was pretty good last week. I thought he's been a nice inclusion into the side. Do we beat the Rabbitohs? I don't think so, but I feel like this will be way more competitive than the last couple of weeks for the Bulldogs. I feel like the Rabbitohs, even without Latrell Mitchell, because Latrell Mitchell is out for 8 weeks or so, I feel like they'll have enough to just get the job done. But, I mean, this could be one of those games that I can see the Bulldogs also upsetting the Rabbitohs. It's generally a pretty tight clash, regardless of who's in the squads. The Bulldogs at their worst, even up against the Rabbitohs at their best. It always seems to be a tight affair, especially this Good Friday clash. So I can see the Doggies picking up an upset. It's happened before in the last couple of seasons where the Dogs have beat the Rabbitohs. It could happen. However, I think your smart money is the Rabbitohs winning. Like I said, I think it's going to be a tight affair, so I am going to say Rabbitohs 1-12. However, I think the conditions are supposed to be pretty good. I think it's supposed to be sunny on Friday, so we'll see how that goes. But look, if Cody Walker gets shut down, I think he shut down the Rabbitohs. Same with Cameron Murray. I think if you pretty much shut down those two players, I think the Bulldogs have a great chance, but they do need to shut down those players, and it is going to take a big game from a guy like Matt Burton to get the Dogs across the line. But I'm going to go Rabbitohs 1-12. Now, moving on to the second game of Friday night, I think this one's a bit of a mismatch, especially with Payne Haas being Senior, but it's the Penrith Panthers taking on the Brisbane Broncos. Now, going into the week with Payne Haas available, I probably would have said, I think Broncos, not necessarily a chance of winning, but I feel like it'd be a lot closer than what it was. But you take Payne Haas out of that side, and that side looked absolute shit. Let's be honest. Payne Haas really carries that 4-pack. I've been on here and I've said that he's not worth $1 million, but in terms of the actual Broncos side, he's their most valuable player. He's easily the best player. He's the most influential one on the field. Their effort levels are always there. You rarely see a bad game from Payne Haas, if I can even think of any, really. Whereas the Penrith side, they are just so solid. From 1 to 17, they are so good. Dylan Edwards in the form of his career. Stephen Crichton looking at a potential origin spot. You've got a lot of players, like all the youngsters are stepping up. Targo and May, they've been playing really well. This Penrith side, they are a well-oiled machine, and I can see them absolutely destroying the Broncos. It's a home game for them too. And when Broncos play these top sides and it's a close game, it's always when it's at Suncorp, which this one is definitely not at. So Penrith, I'm picking them 13+. I think this is going to be an absolute demolition job on them. They didn't necessarily do that to the Bulldogs last week, but they were never in doubt of losing, and they were always in control. So, look, it was a good performance from them last week. Broncos without Payne Haas, without Albert Kelly, they're no chance. They're literally no chance. Penrith 13+, chuck your house on it. Now moving on to Super Saturday, it's the Manly Warringah Seagulls taking on the Gold Coast Titans. Now for me, this one is actually going to be quite an interesting game. I didn't mention it at the start of the video, but Tonja Bojovic, he is out, so we get to see Ruben Garrick filling in at fullback again. And I feel like every time Ruben Garrick fills in at fullback, I always look at him and I go, damn, he's actually a pretty good fullback. The rest of the side, though, look, it isn't the best Manly side we've ever seen, but it still is a very, very strong side. And the Titans are once again another side that is so hot and cold. If David Fifita gets going, or if some of the other players get going, your Brimtons and such, if they get going, Tino's another one. If they get going, they are hard to stop, but they have to get going, and they need the guys around them to support them doing that. This isn't a case of one player being able to carry this Titans side. They just can't rely on that. They can't rely on David Fifita to just go on a solo run and get them back into the game, which is what they've been doing. Manly have been a lot more, team orientated this year. Last year we saw Tonja Bojovic just destroy teams single-handedly. This year they've been winning some games, and it's been around a great kicking game from Cherry Evans and 4-on leading around the side. And, Trbojevic playing well, but not all around Tom Trbojevic. And I think that's going to be a good thing for them going forward. Less responsibility on Tom Trbojevic. And when there's times like this, but Tom Trbojevic isn't playing, it's not so much like, oh shit, well they can't win now. Because that's immediately what I thought when he went down. I was like, Manly won't win a game. Obviously they came out last week. They won. They looked very solid. And I think they're going to be hard to beat this one. I think the Titans are a side that can trouble them. Being a home game for Manly, though, I am going to be tipping Manly. I think it's going to be a tight one, 1-12. I feel like the Titans can score points really quick. We saw that last week. But I feel like, once again, I think they're probably going to beat themselves, if I'm being honest. They just have so many errors in them. Just missing a quality dummy half. And I think Manly are going to take advantage of it. I think Jalen Cherry Evans is going to take advantage of it. So Manly 1-12 for this one. Now moving on to the second game of Super Saturday. This one sees the Melbourne Storm taking on the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. And Melbourne have hit a purple patch of form. And that wasn't supposed to be a reference to their jersey. They are just in really, really good form. Pup Nelson's been absolutely killing it. The Storm as a whole have been absolutely killing it. But you know who also has been killing it? The Cronulla Sharks. They've been fantastic. You can argue that the Storm and Penrith have been the top two sides, but the Sharks, they aren't far off it. They did lose in the first week, but apart from that, they've been pretty flawless. I will say, though, that even though the Sharks have been really good, Nico Hines has been really good, Will Kennedy's been really good, the rest of the side has been really good for them. They haven't really come up against a side like Melbourne. Now, I know they got their first win over Parramatta, and it was a very lucky win. It was right at the end. They ended up scoring at the death. And yes, Parramatta are a very good side, but I feel like they're a tier below the Melbournes and the Penriths at the moment anyway. So they got a win against them, but it was very early on in the season. A couple more weeks later, some more form from both of these sides. I think it's going to be a very, very good test for the Cronulla Sharks. And we can kind of just see where they're at. Generally, they step up against the Melbourne Storm. I don't know if it's because of the grand final years and years ago, but there's not even really any players who were playing from the grand final back then. But for some reason, the Sharks Storm, I feel like it's always a pretty decent game, and I feel like this is going to be no different. I think the Storm are going to win this one. It's a home game. I can't really see them losing it, but I feel like this will be a big telling point for the Sharks going forward. Are they going to be a contender for the premiership, or are they going to be a pretender? I feel like we find out this week. Even in terms of the Storm, like if Sharks come out and towel them up, does that say a lot about the Storm, or is it just a one-off? Or I don't really know, but I feel like this is going to tell us a lot about the season, this game. Like I said, are the Sharks contenders? Are they pretenders? Are the Storm contenders? We'll find out this week, but I'm going to be picking the Storm. I'm going to say 1-12. I feel like it will be a close one, but I feel like there will be some nice tries scored. Now we move on to Sunday afternoon football. It's not normally Sunday afternoon football for this game, but there is a game on Monday. So for this one, it's going to be on Sunday, and it sees the Sydney Roosters taking on the New Zealand Warriors. Probably not going to spend a lot of time talking about this game. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I think the Roosters are going to win this one. Now, just like a whole bunch of sides I've already talked about, they are quite hot and cold, the Roosters. Obviously, their hot streak is a lot higher than a lot of other sides, but they haven't been 10 out of 10 a lot of times this season. And I feel like the Warriors can kind of give them a little bit of trouble. Warriors find themselves in the top 8. They've been beating some pretty decent sides. They've been scoring a lot of points. They've been defending all right. And they look a lot better with Sean Johnson in the side, Reece Walsh in the side as well. They are a pretty solid side. A lot more solid than I thought they were going to be at this point in the season. I thought we were going to see some rocky games from the Warriors, but they've actually been pretty good. It's been the Roosters who have been a little bit underwhelming. However, this might be the game that they do heat up. I can see them struggling a little bit, but I can also see them winning by like 40 points. That's just the sort of side the Roosters are. If they get going, they will get going and they will put a masterclass on. I think it could be the day they do it too. I really do. I think the Roosters are going to win this one 13+. Sorry, Warriors fans. I don't think this is going to be a good game for you. Now, moving on to the second game of Sunday afternoon football. It sees the St. George Illawarra Dragons taking on the Newcastle Knights. Now, the Knights were very underwhelming last week. They really were. I expected them to beat Manly. I had a bet on them and I thought they were going to be the ones to beat Manly. I thought it was going to be quite comfortable for them, to be honest. Instead, Manly really dominated the game, and I think it said a lot about the Knights that they're just not there. They started off the season so well, and I was looking at them and I was like, damn, these Knights, they are super slick. What has happened to the Newcastle Knights? And once again, I find myself saying, what has happened to the Newcastle Knights? They have fallen from grace so quickly. For as many rounds as they were good, they've now been bad. And I don't really see too many improvements. Kalyn Ponga is in the side, and they don't look any better with him in the side than they do without him. So I don't know if that is a reflection on Kalyn Ponga or if that's just a reflection of the Knights in general. But I don't really like what I see from them. However, I have liked a lot more of the Knights than what I've seen of this Dragons side. The Dragons absolutely abysmal. I will say if there's any game that they're going to win, it's going to be a game like this against the Knights. But the Dragons side, like I just don't understand the thought process of Anthony Griffin. You got all these guys who are being touted as future superstars, and you're playing guys like Moses Mbo at fullback. I just don't get it. And probably the biggest reason is like, oh, well, the defense isn't good enough from a guy like Sloan. But then you go and put in Moses Mbo, who's never really been like a strong defender at fullback. He's been at multiple clubs. Been at the Bulldogs, he's been at the Tigers, he's now been at the Dragons. He can't cement himself at fullback at any club. And he's been at 3 of the worst clubs in the NRL at the times when he was there. So I feel like it says a lot about Moses Mbo that he's the fullback and Tyrell Sloan isn't. Like, Tyrell Sloan's never going to come out and say it, and Amone is another one. They're never going to come out and say, like, I'm unhappy at the Dragons. But when you got guys who don't even play that position normally, playing in that position, guys like Jack Bird, he doesn't play 5'8" there every week. Well, he hasn't done for many, many years. And the same can be said for Moses Mbo. I think you're definitely going to be looking at your future. It just looks very bleak for the Dragons at the moment, despite them having some of the best players for the future. They're just not really utilising them. And a game like this could be perfect for them. Chuck in a Tyrell Sloan in at fullback, and I think we might see a little bit of magic, but we probably won't see that. This is an Anthony Griffin coach side. I think it's going to be a very grindy sort of game. I feel like there's not going to be a lot of points scored. At the start of the season in the trials, that was probably the biggest thing I took out of the Dragons games, was that they looked like they were just playing what was in front of them. They were doing kicks randomly. They were chancing their arm, but now it just seems to be all gone. I feel like this is going to be a pretty poor game, but I think it's going to be a close one. I am going to tip the Knights. I think they've got enough class to just get them home, but I don't expect them to have a big game. I will say David Clement is back for them. I think they'll help a lot, but yeah, I don't expect too much in this game. Knights 1-12. Now moving on to the last game of the round. This one I think is going to be an absolute bloodbath. I kept saying that last week. I'm going to say it again this week. Parramatta Eels are going to absolutely maul the Tigers, and that is ironic considering the Tigers are usually the ones mauling people, at least in terms of the actual animal. I'm obviously not talking about the NRL team because they don't maul absolutely anybody. So, look, Parramatta Eels, I think they're going to destroy the Tigers. I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be a lot of points scored. Parramatta, at their best, can score a lot of points. At their worst, can still score enough points to beat the Tigers, that's for sure. So, I don't really need to talk about this in depth, this one. I feel like the Eels are going to win it. I feel the Tigers don't really offer too much. Luke Brooks has moved to the 5'8" position. Solves absolutely nothing in my opinion. For me, you either play him at number 7 or don't play him at all. How does chucking him in another position, like chucking another number on his back essentially, how does that solve anything? Jackson Hastings is back into the side, but like they needed Jock Madden there. They needed someone else. Luke Brooks cannot be picked anymore. He's been picked for years and years and years, and you haven't got any results. You need to just try something. At least give him a couple of weeks. There's been a lot of talk about the Bulldogs swapping and changing, but you have a team like the Tigers who just won't drop a player. Luke Brooks has been there for a long time. I know he's experienced. I know the players probably like him. The fans probably like him. Actually, the fans probably don't like him at this point, but you got to get rid of Luke Brooks, at least for a couple of weeks. Just try it out. Anyways, I'm not going to ramble too much about that game. I'm actually going to finish off this video. I'm going to say Parramatta Eels win 13 plus, potentially more than that, maybe a 20 plus. But yeah, those are my tips and predictions. Let me know in the comment section below. What are your tips and predictions for round 6 of the 2022 NRL season? Are they going to be different to mine? Are they going to be exactly the same? Let me know. Anyways, I'm going to wrap things up here. Thanks for watching, guys. If you happen to enjoy this video, make sure you go ahead and smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Also, make sure to use the notification bell. Don't rely on the sub boxes. Use the notification bell and never miss any of my videos. Also, I better mention that I do have a membership program on YouTube now. It's something that's been around for a little while on YouTube, but essentially it's like a Patreon. It's a thing to support the channel. It gives you things like exclusive emojis to use, especially in live streams. Also, depending on the level that you do, gives you other little perks, like, you can play me on Rugby League Live 4, or you can get little sneak peeks into videos that are going to be uploaded, just little things like that. So if you want to support the channel even further than just watching the video or leaving a like, go ahead and become a member of my channel. There's already 4 people on there. Thank you very much to everybody who has joined the membership program already. Very much appreciated. But yeah, I'm going to stop talking about it now. Going to move on to social media. It's on the screen right now. It's Miss Leak and YT for the most part. Give me a follow, give me an ad. Also, I need to mention once again that there was a sponsor for this video, Earn You. They are a betting company, so you have to be over 18. It is also done through crypto as well. So once again, be over 18, gamble responsibly. But if you do want to take a look at it, my referral code is Mr. Luke. Link is in the description below. Just click on that and it'll automatically do it when you sign up. But yeah, Mr. Luke is my referral code. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Stay tuned for more content on the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. See yous.